Work with those companies and not your local businesses. Don't work on small businesses. Work on the companies where they'll have 6 social media managers all getting paid $60K a year. Do that instead. You're missing the boat if you're working with these local businesses that can't afford you. This is 3 ways to increase your income. Everyone at some point in their life has thought, why is my income so low, huh? Why am I so broke? What's going on there? Why can't I pay for the things that I want to pay for? What's happening? Huh? I have gone through phases where I have been broke. The most broke I was when I spent all my money on making an indie film and had $20 left in my bank account and then had to wait for my next paycheck coming in from my companies. But I've had minimum wage jobs. I was a delivery driver for Jimmy John's, and I'm an entrepreneur, which the first couple of years as an entrepreneur, I was not getting a hefty fee for my services. So my income has been pretty low at various points, and consistently I've been able to boost that income up. So what are you supposed to do if your income is too low? How do you get your income to be higher? How do you do that? Let's talk about 3 ways to increase your income. This video is brought to you by Melrush IO. If you need to send cold emails, or if your current provider isn't allowing you to send cold emails, you must get an account with Melrush IO. With Melrush IO, you can send bulk emailing campaigns on autopilot while avoiding blacklisting problems. Improve your sending reputation with a dedicated IP. And if you sign up with the offer below, they'll include a free customized IP warm-up schedule with your dedicated IP account. And you can get 30% off the first month by using the promo code COLDEMAIL. In addition to that, you can also open a free trial account with a sending credit of 1,000 emails. Check it out, Melrush.io, promo code COLDEMAIL. It starts with figuring out why your income is so low. Do you have a minimum wage job? Is that the problem? You need to get a baseline and figure out why you feel like your income's not high enough first. You need to be brutally honest. When I was in a bunch of debt, it was because I was staying in hotels full time. I didn't have an apartment, and I was spending thousands of dollars on hotels and eating out. I didn't have a kitchen, so I was spending an insane amount of money. But what was interesting is I was lying to myself the entire time, pretending to myself like I could afford it. And it was only by taking a baseline and figuring out what I actually was spending, and it was atrocious, way higher than it should have been. It's only when you stop yourself and realize how much you're spending that you're able to stop it. So that's the first thing, not the first tip, not the first way to increase your income, but knowing where you stand is so important for figuring out where you're gonna go financially. Now, once you've identified that you actually need more money, here's how to do it. Number 1 is get a higher paying job. If you're minimum wage or you work at an hourly position, go get a salaried job as soon as you possibly can. And I know I'm saying that like it's easy, because it is easy. Check out our video on how to book job interviews, the skills that you need in a minimum wage job. If you're smart enough to find these YouTube videos and understand the words that I'm saying right now, you're smart enough to have a salaried job. And there's no reason that you should be a bartender or a waiter or anything like that if you want to make more money. Those jobs also drain you physically and make it harder for you to work on your business. So get out of the service industry as quick as possible and move to a salaried position as fast as you possibly can. Get that higher paying job and then use that extra income to make yourself financially free. You're now making more money, so now you have money freedom and time freedom. You're not being worked to the bone at some minimum wage job. And now you can work on your own business and it's much less stress. Just don't fill the extra time with Netflix or video games or something like that. Even hanging out with friends, don't fill that time up. Use the time you normally would have spent at your minimum wage job cranking it out to now work on your own business. That's exactly what I did when I started my business. I got a salaried job in New York City, working as a junior sales guy. I eventually became director of marketing. And I worked from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every single morning for a couple months on my business. And that's all it really took. Then I was able to replace my income and get out of there. You might be grinding for a couple years. Follow the course Email 10K because it has the exact steps that I went through and that our coaching clients go through to escape in a couple months instead of a couple years. But it's very possible that if you just change the work habits a little bit, you can get your business going and you can get out of that salaried job very, very quickly. And it doesn't matter what the economic situation is in the real world. This is even true for entrepreneurs. If you are working on your business and you've been trying to make money for a very long time and you're still just scraping by and you don't really have a business that's working, maybe you're living with your parents still, getting a job and learning a new industry can be incredibly helpful. When I left the cold calling company in New York to try and start my consulting business the first time, it failed because I didn't understand business enough. Then I started as a junior sales guy at that agency selling mobile apps, and after a year I knew enough to start my own successful company. That was it. So it's not like getting a job is the ultimate defeat. You might just ride a job for a year, learn everything you need to know, and then start your own company and be in a much better spot because of it. The number 2 way to raise your income is to work with clients that pay more. If you run a business already and you don't want to get a full-time job, this is your tip. Let's say you sell marketing services like we do at X27, and you sell to local businesses that will only pay you between $500 and $1,000 a month for social media services. Well, if that's you, let me shatter your mind really quick. A social media manager at a major Fortune 500 company makes 5 to 6 figures a year for that same exact job. That job that a local business is paying you $500 for, Chick-fil-A is paying $70K a year for. How do I know? I actually used to run social campaigns for one of the largest chicken manufacturers in the United States. And they had half a dozen social media companies running their campaigns. Half a dozen on all of their different brands. Each one of these was making $50,000 plus per year. Work with those companies and not your local businesses. Don't work on small businesses. Work on the companies where they'll have 6 social media managers all getting paid $60K a year. Do that instead. You're missing the boat if you're working with these local businesses that can't afford you. I was doing the exact same work for the Fortune 500 company that you are doing for a local pizza shop, and yet I'm making 10 times more. The only thing that's different is that company that I'm working for can afford to pay 10 times more. That's literally the only thing. So if you change the company that you're pitching, you don't pitch the pizza shop, you instead pitch Chick-fil-A or whatever. Chick-fil-A wasn't the company I was working for, that's just an example. Then you will be making more money for the exact same job. Level up your clients to level up your income. This is covered in the course Email 10K. Check that out at email10k.com. Number 3 is cut costs and focus on profit. I put this lower on the list because the other 2 are much more high impact for newer entrepreneurs. But let me tell you a story. A couple years ago, me and Robert, my co-founder, we had a 7-figure agency. We were making over $1 million a year with our marketing services. And yet the profit that we pulled off of $1 million was low. Of course, we were making about double what the average American makes, but still, that's not very much money at all. It also put us at risk for recession or for the market falling apart because we didn't have a war chest. We didn't have any money saved, and we were always scrounging at the end of every month. A very, very dangerous place to be in, as we've seen from what happened in the news. The economy can collapse at any moment, so you always need to have at least 90 days of cash in the bank. And we weren't there a couple years ago. Anyway, we realized this is because we outsourced too much. We were paying for sales teams, for implementation, project management. We had so many people on our team. We were so heavy that our costs, even though we were making $1 million plus in revenue, our costs were so high that me and Robert were barely getting anything. And it's not like the team was working 100% of the time. That's what we figured out. The team was getting paid because they were all on salary, whether they were working or not. And there was a lot of wasted time and thus a lot of team members that could be cut. So we were lighting money on fire. This could have been profit, this could have been a war chest, and yet we were spending it on people that weren't working at 100% capacity. And it was only by cutting all this dead weight that we could make a profit that we were happy with. And now we're super profitable. A couple of years later, we're taking over a 50% margin on all of our products, and sometimes much higher than that. You need to think about where your people can best be used, cut salaries, fire people that aren't working, and check your numbers to avoid spending so much. And I know that sounds kind of odd in these times, right? Why am I telling people to fire other people? Well, firing them will allow them to get a job that works for them, 1. But 2, by firing the employees that aren't working, you provide a tremendous amount of job security for the employees that do work. I did a podcast a while back with Mike Michalowicz, who is the author of Profit First. You should check that podcast out. We'll link to it down below. It's all about taking profit out of your company as the first thing and then paying expenses after that, which if me and Robert were doing that, we wouldn't have even had the money to hire all these people. We would have seen it way earlier. The 3 ways to increase your income are: get a higher paying job, work with higher paying clients, and cut your costs. Thanks for watching the video. I'm Alex Berman. Subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Like this video to encourage this type of content. Check out our course Email 10K if you want to grow your company. Leave a comment down below. What'd you think of these tips? Let's get a conversation going. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.